Hello, everyone, and welcome to Global Outlook. I'm Mary Sitt. Our first guest leads one of the largest academic departments in the country. Dr. Shadi Kilani is the faculty chair for biology here at HCC, and he recently forged a partnership between HCC and the University of Houston, Victoria. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Shadi Kilani.
Thank you for having me.
So tell me about this partnership. How does this work now?
So we actually already have a pre-existing partnership with UHV, but we've taken it a step further by integrating a little bit more deeper with them. We're having more intentional efforts. We are taking advantage of the new Katy campus. So we have more lab space over there. So I reached out to them early in summer, and then we had some similar ideas about helping our students make the transition from the community college to UHV, to their programs. And then we basically managed to develop this partnership with 3 programs over there: the biology, the health studies, and the kinesiology program. What's unique about this partnership, in addition to the fact that we're right next door to UHV at the Katy campus, is also that they get to do the labs here at HCC. So the facilities, the student starts in Katy, they can do all their stuff. They can also take the labs within the same campus that they're used to. They don't have to make any extra commute. And then the lecture portions, they can do that across the street at UHV. So
they can have in-person classes in Katy. They don't have to make that drive to Victoria. And with the price of gas these days, that's really important to students, I'm sure, right? They can start in Katy, stay in Katy, and then graduate from the University of Houston in Katy with a degree from UH Victoria. Is that right?
Absolutely, absolutely.
And Dr., are there only two majors they can go into from HCC into UH Victoria? Biology and
yes. So if you look at our student body, we actually have a very large number of students, and some of them are bound or interested in going into the health science portion, which makes up a majority of our students. But then you also have the biology students, the pure biology students. So this partnership offers opportunities for both these types of students. So you have the AS and the AS biology students who can continue with the bachelor's, but you also have the ones who are bound for health studies or health sciences. They can do the kinesiology. They can also do the health studies, which can open up a lot of doors for them.
How many students do you think would be taking advantage of this? Do you have some idea of what to expect this fall?
Well, for this fall, we're hoping to at least recruit anywhere between 10 to 15 students. But I think as we develop this partnership, because we just started working on it and, kind of started in fall, we also have plans on starting cohorts in the future. So we start recruiting from the high school. They're bound to UHV, they take the classes with us, and then they know where they're going. It's a very clear path, and it also saves them a lot of money, because when they do 2 years with us and then 2 years with UHV, they know where they're going, they're getting quality education, but also it's a lot more affordable than just starting with a 4-year school.
I was just going to mention that, doing their first 2 years of college at HCC and then transitioning right into the University of Houston. They get that 4-year degree from the University of Houston, world-class university, but they save tons of money by doing all the basics at HCC with also quality instruction. So that's a fabulous deal for kids. Tell me, you're passionate about using data to improve student outcomes. Can you tell me how you do that and give me a recent example of that?
Oh, sure. We have multiple ways. As you know, data is the new commodity, and we have to take advantage of it. We have to use it to inform our decisions. But one of the very exciting projects that we have been working on at the biology department has been to collect the data from the performance on their final examinations, the students. And then with the help of the team, we've actually put together visualizations that show the faculty which areas the students are struggling in. So now our faculty, and it's led by some of our faculty, Dr. Madvi, and then there's also Dr. Pauline Ward. They've actually taken it a step further. They've started creating activities, meetings with faculty to go over the data and utilize the information that they have to improve the teaching. We're trying. Sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say the next step we're actually working towards is start predicting early student performance. So if we can start predicting how students going to do early, maybe the first week or two, then we could start directing help and support to the students as early as possible. So that's
wow.
We're taking this next.
So in the first 2 weeks of going to school, you can sort of do an early prediction of this person is like going downhill, let's intervene and help them, or this student's going to be fine. You can do that in the first couple of weeks with data?
Well, Actually, I have developed some models that can even predict before you even start, but having the data or collecting more data, supporting the model, and then having a little bit of real-time data from their courses can help us even become more accurate.
This is sort of like those marriage labs, where they can predict this couple will be divorced in 10 years by the way they're rolling their eyes, or this couple won't. That's pretty cool that you can do this with students and predict their success. Tell me, how are you reinventing the biology degree at HCC?
So it's a team effort, and we're working on reimagining the degree where we incorporate science research skills. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to borrow a term that someone shared with me. They're saying, this knowledge in biotechnology, the skill, that's the new tradesman. So right. It's the new age tradesman. So we're trying to incorporate those techniques, those skills into our curriculum. So we're actually taking steps in modifying our curriculum, and also working on developing workshops and developing capacity with the faculty to be able to teach those. One of the challenges with community colleges is students are transient. Mm-hmm. They stay with us for a short amount of time, and we don't want them to stay with us long. We want them to come in, get what they need, and move on to the next step.
Right.
And research usually takes time. So through our brainstorming, through discussions, through partnerships, all kinds of things, we've decided to focus on skills development. So we help the students, they gain those skills, they become a lot more competitive when it comes to transfer to other programs, and they can even get jobs as lab assistants, etc. So okay. It's very exciting.
And they can get those jobs while they're still continuing their four-year degree, right? Work as a lab assistant, maybe part-time or full-time, and yes. Still go to school.
Yes.
Get that four-year degree. Can you tell me what's the secret to managing a large and complex science department the way you do here at HCC?
Well, I think I don't know if a secret, but I think a big part of it is the ability to listen. You have to be able to listen. You have to be willing to learn, and I think you have to be very humble and understand your limitations. You have to instill trust. I think building a team based on trust, it's the basis for everything. So if your team trusts that you're gonna, take action, you're gonna look out for their best interest, then they're gonna be more likely to reach out to you. They're gonna be more likely to present ideas, and that's how we come up with different projects. That's how we are able to improve quality of instruction, by having that trust. Also, I think one of the challenges with a big department, and it's also an opportunity. Mm-hmm. Small changes in increasing efficiency go a very long way, because we're such a large operation. So you eliminate one extra step, it has a huge impact. So in a way, we're lucky that way. So you make a slight adjustment to your processes, and you see a big impact right away. So
I read this article about 10 small changes you can make your life happier. Can you tell me about one or two tiny little steps that you took as a leader of this department? We have 1 minute left, that made the department more efficient and better for everyone.
So I always, whenever we start a process, I like to solicit feedback. Mm-hmm. And I always think of every process as an iterative process. So we put some thought, but we don't let action, over-analysis prevent us from taking action. So you really have to put something out there, you learn your lessons, you incorporate it, and then you get better. And over time, you make small steps, you make a big difference over time.
So what I'm hearing you say is that if you start a new program in this huge department, you take small steps first and get immediate feedback, and then keep going. You keep refining it as you go on. You don't have it set in stone and go here without changing. Is that right?
Yes. And you don't have to think of every scenario where it doesn't work. Uh-huh. You start something, you put thought into it, and then you put it out there. So you err on the side of action.
Err on the side of action. I like that. Do something. Thank you so much for being with us, Dr. Kilani, and good luck with your partnership with UH of Victoria.
Thank you.
Coming up next, a young student with big ideas to inspire others to follow their dreams. Stay with us.
Natural disasters are a fact of life in the U.S. And between activities and school, chances are you won't be with your kids when they happen. Will they know what to do? Ready.gov/kids can help your children feel prepared, not scared. So talk with your family today.
I want to eat apples and bananas. I need to eat apples and bananas. Why can't I eat apples and bananas?
Support the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks to help provide meals to those in need. Join us at feedingamerica.org.
Sometimes what you need just shows up. Houston Community College has your back, whether you're knocking out some basics or upping your game for a better job. Enroll today for spring classes and frame your future with HCC.
Our next guest is the youngest student ever had on Global Outlook. Mia Du is only 8 years old, but she has big ideas on how to inspire others. She wants to be an international speaker, and she wants to help refugee kids close that learning gap that was developed during the COVID. Mia, thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
So tell me, how did you get the idea of being an international speaker?
I want to be an international speaker because I want to inspire others to go do what they want and to believe in themselves and have confidence in themselves.
Those are really good goals. And so who's your audience? Who do you want to speak to? What countries? What kind, where do you want to go speak?
I want to deliver a speak in Afghanistan so I can tell people that they should treat men and women the same way because men have more privileges than women in Afghanistan. And that's not right.
So human rights.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. I think when my kids were 8 years old, they weren't thinking about that at all. That's wonderful. So you got this idea to be an international speaker from doing what?
I got it from probably NAM because NAM always encouraged us to dream big. And I thought about what I want to do in my future and how NAM helped me to make me more confident. So that kind of helps me to.
So Mia, what is NAM? What does NAM stand for?
It stands for National American Mix.
National American Mix. Okay. So you hold the title of Miss Texas Jr Preteen, right? But your mom says it's not a typical beauty pageant. In fact, they don't let anyone wear makeup. It's really a speech pageant. Tell me about that.
So yeah, NAM really wants us to think that know that we're pretty and that we're beautiful. So they don't allow us to wear makeup because they think we're too little. And it's more of a speech pageant because it has introduction, formal wear, and interview. Most pageants don't have introduction. They have fun fashion. But I think that modeling is a good life skill for modeling. But communication is more important because you need to use communication in all different ways for job interviews, collaborating with people, and owning a business. Because you have to collaborate them and communicate with them. Modeling only comes in handy when you want to be a model.
You know what, Mia? You're so, I'm amazed that you're telling me all this and you're 8 years old. What grade are you going to go to this year? Third grade this fall?
Yeah.
Or third grade. Okay. So can you recite the speech for me now, the one you did in your pageant to win the title?
Yeah.
Okay.
As a multi-talented 8-year-old, I excel athletically, musically, and creatively. But what you can't see in my contemporary dancer teams is the pride I have for my heritage and the desire I have to become an inspirational speaker, encouraging you to believe in yourself. And my fidget trading secrets, representing Houston and Asian American communities worldwide. 我的名字是 Mia Zhong. 谢谢.
Very nice. And xie xie is Chinese for thank you, right? So Mia, you've gotten very involved in charity work. Tell me what you did recently with the Asian American Youth Giving Circle.
Well, when my mom got me involved when I was probably really small and I couldn't do a lot then, but recently I could do a lot of things with the Asian American Youth Giving Circle, like go to their first meeting and go and debate, do the debating and the discussion on which program we should give the 12K to. So we eventually came up with giving 5K to Chinese Community Center, 5K.
That's $5,000. You got a check for $5,000 to give to the Chinese Community Center. Mm-hmm. That's great, Mia.
And
how did you raise that money?
We raised the 12K by people donating to us, because people donating money to the Asian American Youth Giving Circle for us to give to other charities. And we also got money from selling cookies and all that.
That's wonderful. What advice would you give to other students, Mia, who might be afraid to speak out in public like you do, or just get in front of a group and talk to and make a presentation? What would you tell them?
I would tell them that you have to speak from your heart. You have to really mean what you say. Because if you don't mean what you say, you'll get more nervous and it won't really be you. Because you want to tell people what you want to teach them or things about you. It has to come from your heart.
So speak from your heart. And are you afraid of anything at all?
Yes.
What are you afraid of, and how do you overcome that fear?
I used to be afraid of heights a lot, but I overcame that fear by just so we went parasailing once, and I was very, very scared when we were about to go because it was really high up in the air, and I was really scared.
And what did you tell yourself?
I
just
told
do
myself,
it, right?
Just do it. Just go for it. You know,
okay.
You have to visualize in your head you doing it and successfully doing it, and you being very excited to do it, and you being very happy.
Mia, that's wonderful advice. Thank you so much. Just do it, visualize it, and then go for it. Action, just like our first guest. Mia, thank you so much for being with us. And good luck with your future career, okay?
Thank you for this opportunity. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Coming up next, a Grammy-recognized jazz singer who's learned how to pivot during this pandemic. Thank you.
La forma en la que ves tus opciones puede cambiar en un minuto. Houston Community College te ayuda a encontrar tu camino con más de 200 programas que te abren oportunidades a puestos de trabajo. Inscríbete hoy para las clases de primavera y enfoca tu futuro con HCC.
Hey Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry, I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
That one day at PE when they were yelling at me, and then you just linked arms with me. I don't think you know how much that helped me. I finally knew that I had somebody.
Our next guest is a Grammy-recognized vocalist based here in Houston. Tiana Hall is the acting band leader and singer for numerous jazz bands, including the Houston Jazz Band and the Texas Band. She attended the University of Houston with majoring in vocal performance, and she performed in musical theater and opera before launching her jazz career in 2004. Tiana, thanks so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Tiana, how did you choose jazz as a genre you wanted to focus on and build a career on?
So, I grew up working in musical theater professionally and also worked a little bit in opera, but the majority of the repertoire from the jazz songbook, the Great American Songbook, comes from musical theater. So it was a pretty easy step to make because I already had a great deal of the repertoire in my head. So making that transition was a pretty natural progression. Now,
and what was it about jazz that appealed to you?
The ability to improvise, the ability to take these classic melodies and really make each song my own by having the ability to improvise. So I'm not what you would call a scat singer. That's someone that takes a melody and then and does that sort of thing. That's not my cup of tea. I really like to pay homage to the original songwriters and lyricists. I don't like to scat sing, but I do like to take a melody and make it my own by adding my own sense of phrasing, my own deviation from the melody, and just a touch. Because I do like to honor the original melody, and I do like to honor the lyrics.
Well, let's take a listen now to you performing at a recent Candlelight concert and listen to one of your pieces.
Thank you.
The way you wear your hat, like that. The way you sip your tea. I mean, really, the memory of that. They can't take that away from me. The way you smile just speaks. The way you sing on key. The way your heart that's ring. They can't take that away from me. Oh, we may never meet again on the bumpy road to love. Still I love you. I always keep the memory out. The way you hold your light. The way we danced till 3. The way you changed my life. Oh, they can't take that away from me.
Oh, that was beautiful, Tiana. You know, we're still in a pandemic, although most events have gone back to normal. But when we were locked down and then slowly started opening, how did you survive as a jazz performer in Houston? It must have been hard.
It was incredibly difficult. This is my only form of income, and it was absolutely catastrophic for me and so many other musicians that use this as our full-time source of income. I got very creative. I did this thing called quarantinegrams, and I would literally show up at on people's driveways and do singing telegrams like people did back in the 30s. And it was pretty interesting. So people would literally order me to show up like a singing telegram. And so
you would stand outside of the driveway and they would be inside their house listening
with my portable battery powered speaker. And I would dress in character, whatever they order. I mean, like I said, my background was in musical theater, so I'm an actress as well. So I would show up in character, be it a princess, be it a Queen Corona, be it whatever. And I would show up in character and sing them happy birthday or sing them whatever song was requested, and embarrass them in front of all of their neighbors. And
did you do a Zoom concert?
Oh, I would do Zoom deliveries as well. Yeah, it was interesting, and you know, it helped a little. It certainly wasn't anything remotely close to what I normally make income wise, and things still aren't back to normal with regard to my former income, but I'm able to make ends meet again, and I'm so grateful. I had one venue, Artisans in Midtown, that had us doing Zoom concerts while they were doing to-go orders. So yeah, they were so. Chef Jacques Fox, he's a prince, and he's literally a knight, and he was paying us to come and perform and do Zoom.
He really wanted to support the arts. Tiana, you're newly married. Congratulations on your new marriage. But for years you were a single mom raising 2 young sons, and plus the pandemic on top of that. Tell me about the challenges of being a full-time career mom.
Yeah, I actually have a son and a daughter, and they're both special needs. I have 2 autistic children. My son is severely affected, nonverbal. He's 11, and my daughter is verbal but autistic as well. They're 9 and 11. Right now, my son is at a sleepaway camp for the first time ever, and I'm a nervous wreck. But he's there thanks to a wonderful organization here in Houston called Steel Magnolias. It's an organization founded by Elizabeth Elder, who's another special needs mom, and it's a wonderful organization that supports mothers of special needs children, and they have a program right now called Happy Campers that send children to camp that have special needs, and it's not something I don't think we would have been able to swing, because it's incredibly expensive to go because of the supports that are necessary for a child like mine to be able to go, because there are 3 people that have to be around them at all times.
You know what, Tiana, it sounds to me like the theme here is resilience. You just have to be resilient no matter what comes your way, right? And just power through to maintain your career as a jazz performer.
Yeah, just like any parent, though. I mean, you power through if you're a parent at all, if you're a single mom at all, you do what
do
you
you
gotta do.
What do you try to communicate to audiences when you are performing?
I try to be a good interpreter of the song, and I try to honor the people that wrote the music that I am interpreting. And so first and foremost, I want to portray what was intended, and I want to interpret it as best I possibly can so that they get a good interpretation and a good sense of what was intended to be portrayed in the music that I'm performing.
And Tiana, the final question is, how do you make those songs fresh every time you perform? Because these are great American standards. We've heard them, you've sung them for years. How do you make it fresh to you when you perform?
I try to portray a character when I'm singing them. So sometimes I pretend to be a different character each time. So that helps me a lot. So sometimes I'm singing it as a 16-year-old ingenue, and sometimes I'm singing it as a 48-year-old jaded old lady. You know, it just depends. And I think that makes the song new every time. So if we're
going to look for your concerts, Tiana, tiannahall.com, right, to find out where you're performing.
Right.
Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you for having me.
That's all for this edition of Global Alpha. We see you again every Friday and Sunday at 7:30 a.m. and p.m. plus Saturday at 10 a.m. on Comcast Channel 19. Plus, you can download a podcast to go on our website, hccs.edu/podcasts, or watch the full video version anytime on HCC's YouTube channel. I'm Mary Sitch. Thanks for watching.
If you love them enough to crawl into a play place to get them to come down, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're in the right car seat.
La forma en la que ves tus opciones puede cambiar en un minuto. Houston Community College te ayuda a encontrar tu camino con más de 200 programas que te abren oportunidades a puestos de trabajo. Inscríbete hoy para las clases de primavera y enfoca tu futuro con HCC.
Being prepared is a part of who you are, but it's especially important in the case of a disaster. Be informed about possible emergencies in your area. Make a plan that covers where you'll go in an emergency. Build a kit with the things you need to survive. There's no one more capable of planning for your situation than you. Start your plan today. Go to ready.gov/myplan.